AI and mindfulness. A new way to manage pain. AI and mindfulness. A new way to manage pain. You're listening to HAKEYM News. That's HAK Hakeem Alexander Communications, EYM, Exercising Your Mind. Here on Noom Vibe and Spreaker. Presented for HAKEYM News in association with World Reading Club and UniquilibriuM. This edition's reading focus comes to us once again from NeuroScience News and is titled AI and Mindfulness, A New Way to Manage Pain. It was published under the categories of neurology, neuroscience, pain, and psychology on March 12, 2024. That's today. Summary. A new study examines the potential of artificial intelligence to shift chronic pain treatment from opioids to mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. Utilizing machine learning to analyze extensive patient data, the study aims to predict which patients will benefit most from MBSR. Step towards personalized medicine. By focusing on chronic lower back pain and incorporating diverse populations, this research holds promise for reducing opioid dependence and enhancing healthcare efficiency. The initiative, named IMPACT, underscoring the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration in tackling complex health challenges. Key facts. Welcome to the room, Daryl and Mark Thurston. Hello. Key facts. Number one, the study employs machine learning to identify patients likely to benefit from mindfulness-based approaches to pain management, potentially reducing reliance on opioids. Two, WPI has received initial funding of $1.6 million with the possibility of reaching nearly $9 million, highlighting the significant investment in combating opioid addiction through innovative research. Three, the IMPACT study focuses on diverse populations, particularly those underrepresented in mindfulness research, aiming to tailor treatments for chronic lower back pain through data collected from fitness sensors and self-reported measures. Source WPI. WPI, the Worcester Polytechnic Institute, will lead a 5-year study to determine whether artificial intelligence can help doctors steer people dealing with chronic pain away from potentially addictive opioids and toward mindfulness-based approaches. And welcome now, Marcianne. Hello. The new National Institutes of Health, HEAL, HEAL, Helping to End Addiction Long-Term initiative funded study will employ machine learning, a form of artificial intelligence, to look for clues in patient data that could help doctors better determine who is likely to benefit the most from mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR, in managing their pain. We have an image here of a woman sitting facing what looks like to be a forest. She's got a blue shirt on, blue pants, and wonderful red hair. The caption reads, typo, it says Revius, but it should probably say previous studies have found that MBSR is effective in helping people deal with chronic pain, but the mindfulness-based approach does not work for everyone, and doctors and clinicians don't know exactly for whom it would work and why. Credit for this image goes to NeuroScience News. Got a quote here. Welcome, Dr. Rao. Welcome. Quote, for physicians, it will be a new day. said Gene King, the Peterson Family Dean of Arts and Sciences at WPI. To be able to predict who would respond well to non-pharmacological interventions will truly save lives. WPI has received $1.6 million in NIH funding to start designing the trial. If the team's defined benchmarks are met, the research team and the university could receive a total of nearly $9 million in research funding over the course of the next 5 years. The findings of the study could give healthcare providers powerful tools to help people avoid taking opioids that can lead to lifelong struggles with addiction. Over-reliance on opioids for pain management can have devastating consequences. 2021, more than 16,000 people died from prescription opioid-related overdoses, and more than 80,000 people died from overall opioid-related overdoses, one death every 6 minutes. There have been concerning increases in opioid-related deaths in Black and Native American populations. At the same time, chronic pain is also a major concern. A recent U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention morbidity and mortality report estimated that more than 51 million people, more than 20% of U.S. adults, have chronic pain. Previous studies have found that MBSR, again that's mindfulness-based stress reduction, is effective in helping people deal with chronic pain, but the mindfulness-based approach does not work for everyone, and doctors and clinicians don't know exactly for whom it would work and why. Focusing specifically on chronic lower back pain in diverse populations, the study will glean physiological data such as sleep patterns, heart rate, and general physical activity collected via fitness sensors worn by 350 participants during a 6-month trial. Combined with self-reported information on depression, anxiety, pain, and levels of social support, the data will be analyzed by custom-designed machine learning models to detect patterns that might be impossible for a doctor to notice. The information will allow the model to predict whether a patient would beneficially respond to mindfulness, helping doctors better tailor treatments for individual patients. That predictive power could prove to be a powerful tool for physicians who previously may have been wary of prescribing mindfulness-based stress reduction, said Carolina Ruiz, the WPI Associate Dean of Arts and Sciences, and Harold L. Jurist, 61, and Heather E. Jurist, Dean's Professor of Computer Science, who has been researching and teaching machine learning for more than 2 decades. Welcome to the room, Doobie. Hello. She adds that the machine learning models used in the study will be interpretable. Doctors and researchers will be able to pinpoint exactly why a patient may or may not respond well to mindfulness methods. It will save time for the patients. They won't have to go through a treatment that is not going to help, she said. It will also save a lot in healthcare cost and could be applicable to other types of pain and other types of treatment. The study, dubbed Integrative Mindfulness-Based Predictive Approach for Chronic Low Back Pain Treatment, or IMPACT, will bring together a diverse group of researchers at WPI, UMass Chan Medical School, and Boston University Chobanian and Avedisian School of Medicine. Along with King and Ruiz, WPI faculty researchers include Emmanuel Agu, the Harold L. Jurist 61, and Heather E. Jurist, Dean's Professor of Computer Science and MPI, Angela Incolingo Rodriguez, Assistant Professor of Psychological and Cognitive Sciences, Jiayang Wu, Professor of Mathematical Sciences, and Benjamin Nephew, Assistant Research Professor, Biology and Biotechnology. Agu's expertise in analyzing sensor data using smartphones and fitness trackers will play a critical role in the study. The device, or the devices, will track several data points, but Agu said of particular interest to researchers will be participants' circadian rhythms, sleep and wake cycles. Sleep has an immense impact on our overall health, said Agu, who is co-principal investigator on the study. An individual in pain is more likely to experience broken sleep, which can lead to a host of other health issues. Mindfulness-based approaches may help participants sleep better, which can reduce some of those other risk factors. The study will include racially and ethnically diverse populations typically underrepresented in both the research and practice of mindfulness-based stress reduction, despite being at increased risk for stress, chronic pain, and the associated adverse outcomes they bring. Participants will be recruited from the Boston Metro region through Boston Medical Center and Cambridge Health Alliance, and from Worcester region through UMass Chan and WPI. Partners on the grant and community leaders are excited for the work to begin. Dr. Natalia Marone, Associate Professor of Medicine at Boston University Chobanian and Avedisian School of Medicine, a primary care physician at Boston Medical Center, and a co-principal investigator on the study, said the key will be identifying specific markers that indicate people will respond to mindfulness treatment. We are doing this in an innovative way because we are using machine learning to figure this out, Marone said. I am very excited to partner with my colleagues at WPI and UMass Chan to accomplish this study. It has the potential to help many people. Dr. David McManus, the Richard M. Hydak Professor in Medicine and Chair and Professor of Medicine at UMass Chan, said the medical school will bring invaluable experience to the study gained from overseeing the cores of prominent studies, such as the Framingham Heart Study, National Institutes of Health Rapid Acceleration and Diagnostics, the RADEX initiative, and the Risk Underlying Rural Areas Longitudinal Study, RURAL. The wealth of knowledge accumulated through the administration and management of critical components in these studies positions us at the forefront of groundbreaking research, McManus said. Our enthusiasm is heightened as we join forces with WPI and BU under the capable leadership of Gene King. Dr. Mathilde Castiel, Commissioner of Health and Human Services in Worcester, said AI is a tool to help the healthcare system deliver better and more personalized care. I am thrilled that WPI will use AI to address chronic back pain and make an impact on the opioid epidemic, which is truly a public health emergency, and not only in our city and state, but nationally, as DL said. This intervention can decrease the reliance of opioids for chronic back pain and provide a more targeted approach that is specific to the individual. About this AI and pain research news. Welcome to the room, Christopher Birkenbein and Johnny Battle. Hello, welcome everyone. About this AI and pain research news. Author is Stephen Foskett, source is WPI. There was an image that I looked at earlier. That woman staring into the forest with lovely red hair is credited to NeuroScience News. There is no abstract for this here, but NeuroScience News, of course, you can read this article for yourself on NeuroScience News. And NeuroScience News says, sign up to receive our recent neuroscience headlines and summaries sent to your email once a day, totally free. We hate spam and only use your email to contact you about newsletters. You can cancel your subscription anytime. NeuroScience News posts science research news from labs, universities, hospitals, and news departments around the world. Science articles cover neuroscience, psychology, AI, robotics, neurology, brain cancer, mental health, machine learning, autism, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, brain research, depression, and other sciences. That's right. So unless there's any discussion here, then I'm going to be moving along. But you've been listening to HAK News here on and Spreaker. Welcome, Dr. Rao. How do you do?
Hi, hi, Hakim. Fascinating subject, right?
Yes, sir, indeed.
Yeah. Um, of course, I have a lot of concern about the chronic pain and narcotic use from maybe 30 years ago we started that, and it's a real concern because a lot of people are dying because of the fentanyl and drug abuse and all that.
Yeah, the different opioids. Yeah,
Yeah, that machine learning giving us a lot of data points, that's a real promise, you know, because you cannot get so many data points just by interview or observation or anything like that. And uh, the eligibility of the patients also is much better with AI and determining who is going to be, uh, participant in the studies. That will be much easier selection,
that's right.
Uh, feedback will be much better because you don't have to wait for long term trails and all that because the data will be put in pretty quickly, you know.
You're right.
Um, then any delivery of medications with the nanotechnology, we can really give antidotes much more effectively, much more subjectively, in the sense they
Yeah.
should be customized, you know.
And subjectively too, you talking about the subjectivity and customization of it is with more precision.
Yes, much more precision, and then the accuracy would really be very high. The error of whatever subjective error because of some people may be reporting wrong like that won't be there because all the responses of sympathetic nervous system gathering data from your own body, your own input of that will be much better. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, you mentioned something that the article also did mention. I know that you probably heard that, but it said that combined with the self-reported information,
Yeah.
that the machine learning models will detect patterns that might be impossible for a doctor to notice.
Anybody, because it
Yeah.
will take so many millions of points of you. That's wonderful. This is a very good use for, but there are a couple of things I'll tell you which we were able to do naturally. I mean, the human subjects of certain cultures, certain practices, they were able to do that. Only thing was you could not replicate them in the other cultures because, a lot of differences were there. For example, pain threshold is very high in people who are living in environments that are not really comfortable. Okay, somebody living in a big desert or somebody living in a very, 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 very cold place, they will have much more pain threshold. And also, because they don't have these medications available for them whenever they want or at the whim, they have to forego and allow the body to develop the threshold much higher. In my own
So
life, okay, I saw in India when I was growing up, the people have not been taking any medication that easily, and then we know they are in a lot of pain. They bear it down, and they increase the pain threshold. And there's something else people don't know is dissociation state, like, people can be really separate their body and the mind, and thereby the perception of pain much more like they are that somebody else is having that, they can be uh, completely dissociate themselves. And we have seen cases like that where people have, for example, Gandhi, he had an appendectomy without anesthesia.
mm,
And
yeah,
then I myself, I had a colonoscopy at the age of 50. I never took any sedation at all.
wow. Yeah,
And I mean,
there's it's
yeah.
something that I'm a little bit familiar with because one of the first things I learned at the
Mm,
Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Tarzana, California, was something that they called hypnoanesthesia.
yeah,
So learning how to use your mind to overcome
yeah,
the the experience of pain.
Now, take that hypnosis. That's easier to understand. Now, when you hypnotize somebody, usually they have to submit themselves willingly. That means they are
That's
kind
right.
of subjugating their egoic self. You know, most of the time patients are difficult to control. The stronger the ego, the worse their pain perception, and also the worse they should not be happening this, and then their pain will be high. So
Right.
the more you subjugate that egoic component, but still being alert and aware and in your real conscious self, that's when this dissociation happens quite a bit. And these people practice for years. So when the time comes, they want to take. It's very rare. It's not that easy. So we cannot ask people to learn it. But what we can allow them is, you can increase your pain threshold, provided you don't reach for the pain pills that easily, right?
Right.
Like the warriors, like the soldiers, and all these people, they have tremendous ability to bear down the prey. That's the mechanism, same mechanism. A villager in remote corners of the world, they do that because they naturally they don't want to take medications that easily. At least at one time. Right now, maybe more people are available, and then this is a big topic in the hospital, Hakim. I had to fight with the nurses because at one point we made pain as the fifth sense, something fifth vital or something like that. So
Mhm.
these women, the nurses, they were kind and then they want to help the patients, but they didn't realize they were making more addicts out of them by giving medications that are very quickly, like Tylenol, Motrin, and all this, and also narcotic. Also, if we leave a routine order that this patient can have 2 milligrams morphine, if this happens, they give even before that. So that's why they
Right.
are allowing the patient to develop natural, more like a immunity in the sense it's not immunity, it is like a pain threshold.
They're building up a dependence and tolerance and
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
The culture itself does that because
Right.
the culture allows, you shouldn't be having pain, but actually pain is a response of the body that's saying, okay, something is going on wrong. So it's like an indication of correcting the underlying cause.
Right.
We miss that, but this is a very fascinating. I'm going to look more into it because I know what's coming up is more like a, addiction itself. We know a lot of things are coming up. And do you know Dalai Lama, the Buddhist?
Yes. I'm familiar.
He, yeah, he did some scientific studies in conjunction with some neuroscientists, some of the anesthesiologists, and all that, right? Because these Buddhist monks, they have a very easy tendency to go into what's called samadhi, where you are
Mhm.
completely absorbed in that, right? And that is very benevolent, very nice thing to go into. But you need years of training and meditation and understanding and all that. And but what he did was he kind of wanted scientific scrutiny and verification of what they're going through. So this is before functional MRI. Now we have functional MRI. We can easily see anybody who is in a state of reverie, in a state of that nirvana or samadhi, or what we call it, and then they're completely absorbed. The brain waves will be almost like calmed down, and it looks like the patient has died, but they are completely aware.
Yeah.
This,
You know,
you you do those studies. I think it will be very valuable information for this.
it's interesting you mentioned about the Dalai Lama and these different
Yeah,
um, ways of using meditation to deal with pain.
yeah,
It reminds me, in 1963, there was a monk named, I think, Thich Kwan Duc or something like that,
yeah,
who, who lit himself on fire. I mean, it's a horrifying but very interesting example that he lit himself on fire to, bring attention to the issues going on with
yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah.
And
It
he
did.
did not move at all.
Yeah,
I mean, his body was completely engulfed in flame, and he went into a state of meditation
and
and then lit
then
himself on fire and had no visible no
Yeah,
detectable response at all to the pain of being burned alive. I mean,
yeah.
that
There is
is
an
incredible.
institution in Kansas, Hakim, Menninger Institute. You know, they brought some of these yogis and monks, and then they kind of measured their ability to control the involuntary process for us, like a blood pressure, temperature, pulse, respiratory rate, and all that. They can really lower them. But now we know it very well because you can suspend uh, that kind of, we call it, what is that? Invisceration or evisceration, something like that. There's a term
Yeah,
for that. For example, babies trained blood and ball movement, right? And
yeah,
we kind of allow that capacity to grow up, and later on, if you see people who are nervous, people who are fearful, people who are having some nervous problems as a elderly person, like a stroke and all that, they lose the same control that kids have, right? Like that, nowadays, the research is going on for this. What about other things? Okay, fine. With these vitals you can control. What about you can have other abilities where you can control your metabolic drive, where you can control your nervous system ability to learn, and that kind of. Where about how about stopping the heart forever? And there, people have demonstrated. It's not like a extraordinary thing. It's once you are deep into that. For example, I don't take any medication. I can withstand a lot of pain, mainly because I refuse to take my pain medication for small things.
right.
Then what happened
I,
was,
I can I can
yeah,
relate to that. I don't take any medications at all.
yeah.
No over-the-counter
So
medications, nothing like that.
yeah, we know that because it's not a big deal. We don't have to say that we are superhuman beings. It's a question of habit. And also seeing some examples, then you do that. So when I had the appendectomy, they wanted to give me narcotics. And I'm a physician. I was almost like a narcotic phobic. I wouldn't give the patients that easily. I would train them and
Right,
all, and then maybe I'll allow them, but then also allow them lower dose as much as possible. And then people, as they understood this pain control, they kind of cooperated very much. And there were so many people who had GI bleeding from the Motrin because they were taking it as nothing there, and they were taking it at home. Everybody's building
yeah,
up drug pharmacy at home. So that those are all our problems of this modern then think like, oh, we shouldn't be suffering. This pain is suffering, and that kind of education, mal-education, But this is a very fascinating, Hakim. I could tell you more about um, machine learning, basically, and
mm,
combined with molecular biology, right?
yeah,
What it is we can tell your biological age better by having these nanopoints of molecular mitochondria. Even if mitochondria, you take like a room of mitochondria, and then so many walls and so many things are there, right? All that is much better absorbed now. So, what we are looking in the near future is using nanotechnology, a drop of blood will be able to tell you your molecular status,
right.
and then
Like like
conclusions
you
of,
had mentioned,
yeah,
like you had mentioned before about, some people may not have heard of it,
yeah,
but there's definitely a difference between your chronological age and biological age.
yeah, definitely, because that is possible. Even I feel biologically much younger than chronological I am, by the way of stamina, by the way I react to things, I alert and then learn things very quickly. All that you can say, like you are in 30s, 40s. But you know what? Good news is we can teach to patients what the daily things that they could do so that they don't have to get the biological age speeded up, right? For example, simple thing. Suppose you are eating food, right? Don't eat because of your taste habits. Don't eat because of your psychological habits or social habits, none of it. But simply allow the body to develop the ravenous appetite and start to eat it.
Right.
like that.
I mean,
Water
that's the
also.
way that I eat. I eat. You know, there's a saying I heard a while ago that I follow. It says, "Live to eat, not eat to." So
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
don't
always
live to
say that.
eat,
What
eat
it
to live.
is, what it is, I want to live to do something important. That's why I want to eat to live, to accomplish my noble goal. What says,
Yes,
no, eating is my pleasure, so I'm here to live, but then I want to eat because it's a pleasure for me. This was my childhood argument with my brother, who was 4 years older than me, right? He said, we are all here to enjoy ourselves, eat whatever we want, enjoy all the taste, and that's why we should be in this world and then enjoy the food and all. But I don't know what happened to me. I said, no, I thought we should eat just to live so that we can do what we want to do.
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a simple thing, but then the things that happen because of the attitude of making food as the ultimate less than the means for us to go, they develop this obesity because eating pleasure, social, and all the things came out of that philosophy. But
Mm-hmm.
some people say I'm foodie, I'm enjoying food and all that. Yeah,
Right.
nobody said not to enjoy food, but don't make it the whole thing, and then irrespective of what you are happening to your body you want to eat, then it becomes a habit for the body to consume. Even the stomach expansion, okay, suppose you are eating food, right, and the stomach really expands to a certain degree. At one point usually it takes 20 minutes for that stomach to come to that stage. That reflex stretching kind of tells you, well, hey, I have reached the satiety point, so
Yes.
stop. Start. You don't feel like eating anymore. But now, if you eat faster, you eat more food to have that stretch. But then, if you eat slow, you will have more saliva going in there, and you will have more stretch with less calories.
Mm.
Simple
Well,
things.
Dr. Rao,
Yeah.
I appreciate your input.
Mm.
Thank you very much for joining me today. It was definitely I'm definitely glad that you share with me. I learned something every time we speak, so much appreciated. I'm
Yeah.
gonna run now. I have a quick task to do, but
Uh,
I'll be
yeah. But
doing more of this. I've been seeing a lot more great
stimulated.
articles about AI and health.
Hakim, I appreciate you. You kind of stimulated me with all this. We'll talk about later. So thank you.
All right. Good having you, Dr. Rao.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Will. All right, everybody. I was just joined by Dr. Rao here on Wisdom, or that's formerly Wisdom. Now it's the Noom Vibe app, and also here being broadcast on Spreaker. You've been listening to HAKEYM News on Noom Vibe and Spreaker, presented by myself, Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander, for HAKEYM News in association with World Reading Club and UniquilibriuM. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here. Lois Sampson, Brian Coletto, David Galmidi, Melvina Gray, June. Hello again, Christopher Birkenbein, Johnny Battle, Doobie. Dr. Rao, thank you once again for joining me and providing your input. Marcian, Daryl with the dashes, he's on now with his own show and his own talk, so go over there and join him. And Mark Thurston, thank you guys very much, and I'll catch you on the next wave. Stay well.